The new Porsche Boxster S, internally called the 981, is a very beautiful car. Now free from using components from the 911, like its doors, the designers have been able to give the Boxster a look all its own. But what's even better is that underneath the sheet metal is a long list of improvements, including more power, a wider front and rear track, and crucially, lower weight. That means it's faster. We also have a 7-speed twin-clutch automatic with launch control. To activate it, we hit Sport Plus, and then you mash all the pedals. Once you see launch control light up on the dash here, you release the brake. Gets out of the hole very quick. You'll hit 60 in about 4.2 seconds. And the quarter mile at 12.7 seconds at 109.7 miles an hour. That's about 2/10 faster than the last Cayman S we tested with the PDK transmission. And for our 60-0 braking test, the Boxster took just 102 feet. And now the figure 8 test with the Boxster S. On corner entry, I'm kind of surprised how loose this car feels. I think what's happening is you have a lot of authority through the front end of the car, a lot of grip, turns it very sharply. But when you do that, you got to remember there's a rear weight bias you're dealing with, 55% or so, I think. So if you get a little too greedy with it, you get some oversteer. And that's good because most cars are going to understeer when you turn in hard. This doesn't do that though. This takes smooth hands and very careful control of the throttle. That's rewarding, that's fun. This car does that very well. Now we have a wider track than the outgoing Boxster, which may be contributing to that extra authority on turn-in. We also have in this car torque vectoring, which is going to grab the inside rear tire when you start applying throttle to help the car rotate. Rotate this car certainly does. So what's happening is you get a lot of liftoff oversteer mid-corner. So you have to be really mindful of your inputs. You get too ham-fisted, you're going to start sliding everywhere. Now that's fun, but it's not fast. Fast is what we're trying to do. And our best lap around this figure 8 actually matches the old V8 R8 and the Boss Mustang Laguna Seca. This is really invigorating stuff. The Boxster S then is a very strong performer, but it's what it does on the road that makes it so special. I'll come right out and say it, this may be the greatest sports car in the world. Now that declaration shouldn't be much of a surprise because we've said the same thing about the previous Cayman, a car that was based off the previous Boxster. But with this new Boxster, that sense of driving thrill has been improved, refined, honed even. It is absolutely delightful. Now you aren't working with a lot of power. We only have 315 horsepower, and nor is this car a featherweight. It weighs a little bit over 3,100 pounds thanks to those 20-inch wheels we're riding on. But it's the way the car blends its power, blends its weight into the chassis, and how it reacts to your inputs that makes this car so thrilling to drive. The sound, of course, is phenomenal. We have an optional sports exhaust, and when you lay in the throttle and the higher revs, the howl it gives you is just intoxicating. And when you lift off the throttle, you get the sound of gunfire from the exhaust. It sounds like somebody's firing an AK-47 behind you. It's downright fun. You have a sense of overall control of the car, afforded a lot through this PDK twin-clutch 7-speed transmission. It gives you such fine, excellent control over the car with incredibly fast gear changes. But the thing is, it's also extremely adaptable. The transmission is always looking for better ways to match your driving style. It's looking at your throttle position, your brake position, even your steering. For example, if you have it in sport mode like we do now, the harder I press on the brake, the harder it downshifts, the further gears it drops down. And similarly, when you're doing a little power slide, the car knows it's looking at your yaw, it's looking at your steering angle, and it'll actually prevent an up-changing gear so you can keep the slide going a little bit longer. It's those sort of decisions that make this car so enjoyable. This car is always looking for ways to make you have more fun. It seems like when they were designing the car, whenever they got to an impasse, whenever they got to a discussion on which way they should go in designing the car, they always defaulted to the way that would make the driver have more fun. And this car, the sensation that you get from behind the wheel, is an aggregation of all those decisions. One of the more interesting things is that new Boxsters have electronically assisted power steering, and there was some worry that you might lose a bit of the feel without the hydraulic system. I can tell you though, this system is great. I feel like I have great precision over the car, all the feedback I want, and all the weight I want. This is a perfect intermediary between myself and the front wheels. And this car, being a roadster, means you can enjoy the outside experience and the thrill of driving all that more. This roof takes around 9 seconds to open and shut. That's very, very fast, and you can do it up to about 30 miles an hour. So it's really convenient when you're just putting around town. You don't have to stop at a stoplight to put the roof up or down. And the thing is, with a roadster, you put the roof down and you can take in the experience more. It amplifies the sensations. You can smell the air around you. You can look up and see the sky. You can hear the exhaust, hear the tires howling. It just makes the experience that much more fulfilling. And when you blend that with a car that is so harmonious, like this Boxster is, you take it through a few corners and you realize, yeah, this is it. This is what a sports car should be. This is what it's all about. You drive this car hard through a few corners and it just makes everything else seem insignificant. You wonder why other automakers even try. Now, I'm having so much fun driving this car, I almost forgot that there are downsides. There's one big one, and that's the price. I mentioned a lot of options. We have Sport Chrono, we have PDK, we have torque vectoring, and a few others. Now, the prices for all those add up really quickly. This car, as we're driving it, costs nearly $90,000. Now, that's more than a base 911 Carrera S. And the question becomes, would you rather have a well-optioned Boxster S or a base 911? Now, that question probably deserves a little bit more investigation, but I can tell you, from the driver's seat on this road, this Boxster S feels like it's worth every penny. With the Boxster, you get this overall sense of a car that wants to help you in every way it can. Everything in this car has a singular focus, and that is making sure you have fun. And that's what a sports car is all about. It's not outright speed and losing your license. It's about eliciting joy at every corner, no matter how fast you're going.